This is the Trusted Referral Network. We are a group of independent marketing consultants and agencies around the country and in Canada that get together twice a month to learn from each other, learn about each other, to see if we can find opportunities to collaborate, work together, sell business together, or whatever seems to work, and of course, learn from each other. We usually have a showcase. Oftentimes that showcase is spur of the moment, but today we have somebody who has come prepared, I believe, Austin Buell, who I met just recently. I think it was on Lunch Club. And he's been working with a partner and recently launched an interesting product. It's an AI assisted marketing plan generator. And it's called Bluprnt, and the company is called Vision and Story. And after his 15-minute presentation will go around the table, everybody will get a chance, 2 or 3 minutes, to introduce themselves, what they do, what type of, where they really focus, how they can help everybody else or others, and what they're looking for. And also, if you can, something unique, interesting about you and your background would be really helpful, because that way people will remember you. So without further ado, hey, Howard.
Hey.
I'm going to put on a timer. Let me just find my apps. I'll put on a timer for 15 minutes. Austin, do you want to let people ask questions in the chat or hold off?
Shout them out.
Just shout them out?
Interrupt. I'm more than happy to have a dialogue. I am not a big monologue person, so happy to just have somebody shout it out or raise their hand or whatever, and we'll just go from there.
All right. So I'll let you take it away. You can certainly, you have a presentation, or is it mostly just talking head?
I put a little PowerPoint together here, and I haven't seen a showcase before, so if there is a gold standard of best practice, my apologies if I didn't follow it, but I figured
No worries.
Would be interesting just to kind of show what we did and have it be more of like a discussion on like our journey and what we went about and kind of what we built through that process. So hopefully people find that engaging, and certainly a way that they can start thinking about how they can use AI on their own. I know there's a lot of companies out there that are claiming they're AI powered, they're AI companies, and I think there's some fatigue around that term, as well as some smoke and mirrors as well. So happy to show a very concrete example of how we're using it, and as well as something where, frankly, most of our content doesn't even refer to the fact that we have AI. Our philosophy is that in 2 years, maybe less, it'll be like saying you're cloud-based, or you have a website, or you do SEO. It's like, yeah, and get to the real stuff, because everyone's going to have this in their tech stack. So yeah, as mentioned, please feel free to jump in if you have questions. Happy to answer them on the spot. But essentially what we set out to do in September of last year, this is my co-founder, Jamie. He's been in a agency setting since he graduated from undergrad. He started in the creative side, but then started shifting over to strategy. And really got into doing brand strategy workshops. And we kind of thought, with the advent of all this technology, maybe we could come up with our own way of doing this, but in a digital fashion. So, I always give him a hard time because, basically what my job has been is take Jamie, the human, and turn him into a robot that we could put online and have available at all times. So that's kind of what our journey was to apply AI. The journey started with creating measuring sticks. So basically what we identified was if we wanted to make this a standard process that could be put up and followed by anyone, we couldn't have loose terms. So things like, the promise of the product and what the emotional and functional benefits are. If you go Google that, everyone has about 17 different versions of what that could be. None of them are wrong, but you can't have all of those floating around, because then you can't match them and create a positioning statement based on that information. Then takes in a persona. If you go ask ChatGPT, you go ask somebody on the street, they're going to have a bunch of different ways that you could define somebody. But if you don't have a common way of talking about it, then again, you can't figure out any positioning because there is nothing to go one-to-one. So if you have one company that's a hero, one company is a maverick, are they the same or are they different? And can you rely on that strategic positioning on that personality, like say a Liquid Death does, if you're not talking about the same thing? So the first thing we did, we started creating measuring sticks to basically be able to put this in a standardized way onto a platform. The next thing we did was we handcrafted questions. So basically, we took our measuring sticks and we put them on an algorithmic setting. So like, is this person more team-oriented or individual-oriented? Are they more adventurous? Or are they more, stable? And figured out a way to be able to route people through these questions to be able to start landing them on our different parts on the measuring stick. So we basically came up with that, put it into our platform. And then this is where the AI starts getting involved. We got a retrieval augmented generation tool. Does everyone know what a RAG is? The super short version, you can basically create a proprietary AI that is loaded with proprietary information that does not get exposed to ChatGPT and is not replicable unless somebody else has your information as well. So we basically were able to take 20 years worth of experience that my co-founder had and put it into our own AI so it behaves the way we expect it to, as well as train it so that it does the things we want it to do and references the measuring sticks that I was talking about earlier. Then we built formulas. And these formulas allowed us to take the algorithmically collected data, drop it into the formulas we had predefined, and then we send that through the AI in order to create natural language. The formulas are kind of interesting on their own, but they're really clunky. They don't read well. And that's where the AI really is coming in to help us a lot, is it's taking that formulaic approach and then making it accessible and readable and easier to use. So basically what that led us from being able to do was take a one company, 3-day workshop. You usually have 5 to 10 year leadership. The cheapest you can get this is with like a boutique local place is like 15K. A lot of places charge 50. You get to a mid-sized agency, they're charging a couple $100,000. Super inaccessible for small businesses or early stage startups. And it usually takes about 6 months to get to the deliverables, because you're constantly doing rewrites and going back and forth, and there's a lot of manual intervention, and you probably didn't have a measuring stick, so you're kind of making things up as you go. We did an iterative process. So throughout this process, instead of just going straight into a software, we started doing workshops with multiple companies. They were 1 day instead of 3 days. We could charge less because we had multiple companies there and it was only 1 day. And the deliverables, people walked out the door with those deliverables that same day. It was a great learning exercise because we could sit there and we could watch where people were interacting with our platform and see immediately where we messed up the UX, and we could get that feedback and then make adjustments and make it better, which was a really nice way to be able to then get that user acceptance testing without having the internal resources for it. And then finally, we made the transition over after doing a couple of these, and it's an on-demand SaaS platform. We have a freemium model. You can get to all your deliverables done in 2 hours, and it's iterative. So you can go back in, you can learn about the market, you can test out your messaging, you can learn about new competitors, and you can keep this up and changing on a regular basis. So totally different, right? Not a 3-day, 6-month experience that costs a ton of money. We've got to the point where it's so streamlined, it could be a freemium model and getting the same kind of outputs. So this is what it looks like. This is Bluprnt. You can see our mascot, our robot version of Jamie. We call him Brandon because we thought we were clever. Brand strategy, Brandon. And he's got just-in-time learning integrated throughout. So as you're going through each of these steps and you're an individual who doesn't know brand strategy or how this process works, you go to do one of the steps, you go in, you're given about a 2-minute video to learn more about what that step is, what the purpose is, and what the benefits and the outcomes are going to be. And in this lower right-hand corner, you have direct access to the AI. So you can go and ask it questions, work with it, have it write creative briefs for you, have you write copy for it. We can debate whether or not AI-generated copy is worthwhile. I think it's a good first draft tool or a good idea tool, but beyond that, I think human writers are still better. What this journey includes is an explore section. So we go through the who, what, why, how, where, and when exercise. I'm not sure if people have done that before, but essentially just trying to get a strong idea of who that company is, answer all of these questions, kind of like a detective, right? And then be able to use that to generate our formulas down the line. The next section is the about us. So that's where we figure out the persona. The lead is what they consider to be the most important of each of these. There we are and we are not. So when they decide what the most important, who, what, why, so on and so forth is, we also make them say what they're not. So they can be very clear and decisive and make sure that they're not just saying, hey, well, we're not low quality. Make them actually say something along the lines that's a value add so that creators understand what they're talking about. The values is the first time that the AI comes into play. It comes in and it starts pulling information that we've strategically put into the formulas, and then it generates values for people based on what they've answered already in the experience up to that point. They can run that as many times as they like if they don't like the first couple of them. And then finally, we also make them go through promise of the product. So what's the emotional benefit that they're providing to the customer? What's the functional benefit they're providing? And what's the primary feature that goes along with it? We'll use that in the positioning later. We then have them repeat those personas and promises of the products for both the customer and the competition. For competition, obviously, we are not able to bring in their competitors to have them fill this out for them. That would never happen, right? So what we've done is we've actually created the ability to scrape information and then run it through our measuring sticks to then get their equivalent. So we're able to then say, okay, based on the competition you provided to us, their promise of the product is X, Y, Z. Here's how you can position against it. Which gets to our positioning, basically goes through, takes all this information about you, your customer, your competition. We call this finding your sweet spot, which is the unique place that you connect with the customer that your competitor cannot. So do you have an emotional benefit that you provide with your product or your service that your competitors do not? Or do you have a functional one? And we basically put it up there and we go, here's the spots you do, or here it isn't. And obviously, if you have none, we highly encourage you to go back and go through that process again, because we don't want anyone out there getting stuck in a commodity game. We want them to have high branding experiences with that to be able to stand out and win more customers. Finally, once they go through and they have a unique value prop that is that sweet spot, we put it through our AI again to develop a strategy. So where are they going to talk and what are they going to talk about based on that unique value prop? And we give them KPIs to go with that strategy so they can measure it. And obviously, if they're not measuring well, send them back through the process so they can iteratively improve. And then probably not the best thing to talk about, but our budget tool is fine. I would not say it's great, but it's a marketing plan. So you got to have a budget to go along with it. I'd call this definitely the weakest thing that we have. And that all comes together to create a blueprint. That all comes together to Bluprnt. So here's a little bit more of a concrete example of what this looks like. We have a series of questions. As you're going through, you're answering these questions about your company, about your team. You're identifying these items. Here's one of the algorithms we do to figure out your persona. It's kind of probably hard to see on this screen, but you can see as we're getting in and we're narrowing down, we're really putting you through different journeys to figure out where your persona actually lands instead of just asking you a ton of questions and hoping something sticks. So it becomes more and more precise. And we actually have interesting convos with people because they get towards the end and they start getting like, hey, this is really hard. And it's like, it's good because we're actually honing in on what you are and we're making you split hairs here to figure out what a true persona is for you versus generically, are you one of these other things? And then again, so we algorithmically gather that data, put it through Bluprnt, and then that's how you get some of the outputs here. And then here's an example of what that looks like. So they just hit a button, it goes into the back end, pulls that information from the back end, puts it into the formulas, pushes it through the AI, and then gives you these results. And then you get a blueprint. So there's like a slide for it. I think can you guys see the other PDF that I just dragged over?
Yep.
So this is all everything that we give you as part of the marketing plan deliverable. This is ours. I did tweak it some just to keep some of our stuff a little bit secret, not give away everything. But this is basically what this one looks like for us. And this is all automatically generated through the platform. No human intervention. We don't have to sit down and make sure it looks good or anything like that. And it just goes through, and every time they want to do something, make any adjustments, they go back through any of the exercises that they learned something more about. They go back in. You can see, yeah, the budget part is less than impressive. They go back in and they can run that again and generate brand new blueprints on a regular basis. So that was it. I thought I was gonna be fast. Sorry about that.
We have about 3 minutes left. Maybe you want to close out the presentation. That way everybody will see everybody on the grid. Questions, comments for Austin?
I got a question.
Krista has her hand up, and then Ron. Go ahead, Krista.
Okay, I was wondering if you could offer a bit more of an example of a plan. I know you mentioned that you could scrape competitors. You could, I guess, if you can make it a little bit less abstract.
Yeah, so throughout the whole thing, we provide so we gather all the information about you that we're asking the questions around. We create the mission, vision, values, promise, customer analysis, competitor analysis, and everything. So that PDF that I was providing had everything that comes with the part of the deliverable.
Okay, my apologies. I'm not able to see the PDF, so I didn't realize that you had those sections there. How does the process work when you said the AI asks you questions?
So we put together a series of surveys that ask you targeted questions, and then as you answer those questions, we start diverting based on an algorithm to more precise questions that kind of lead us on that journey.
Oh, okay, I get it. And then does the plan include action steps that we can take on our part to do the marketing at the end?
Yep. So there's a strategy section that suggests what media channels you should do and what creative themes you should talk about in those media channels. And then the AI itself will write creative debriefs so that individuals who aren't good at writing those can ask the AI to create the debrief for them and then send it to, the copywriter, their logo designer, whatever that person's going to be.
Creative briefs. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Ron Hubsher.
Yeah, awesome. Pretty cool. A couple quick questions for you. One, what's the core AI? Like, is it a ChatGPT that's private or sort of, so you have something that overlays it, it looks like, right?
Yeah, so we have a tool that we use called WiseOx. It's a RAG automator, so it automatically generates RAGs that we can train, and it's all a wrapper on top of ChatGPT 4.
Okay, and you have some scripts that lie on top of that. Is that how it generally works? Something like that?
Oh, sorry, say that again?
You have some pre-populated scripts that say, enter this, enter that, enter this, right?
Yeah. So it's trained both on how my last 20 years of my co-founder's experience. So we just took everything that he's ever done and dropped it in. So it writes like he does.
Yeah.
And then, I built workflows using JSON files to have it be steered as it's going through and executing different tasks.
Okay. And then Michael, do we have time for one quick question?
Sure. And then we'll go to Tiffany. That'll be the last.
Okay. Yeah. And who's it geared for? Is it more B2C, B2B, or either?
That's a good question. I think probably a little bit more B2C at the moment. There's a couple spots where when we're putting into the customer profile, we ask for income versus business revenue. But for the most part, I would say it is applicable to both, which is never a great answer, right? You want to be specialized to a certain one, but we are an early stage startup, right? So we are kind of figuring out exactly what niche do we really dive after.
Cool.
All right. Tiffany, you had your hand up?
Yeah, quick question. So the example that you shared, it struck me as a potentially a new brand strategy that the work was in service of, but does the program work for a business that already has a brand strategy and there's more of a refinement project that you're doing?
I'd say we built this to help people who never have the ability to create brand strategies before. And then I would say that, it's certainly something where if you're going to do a rebrand strategy, but if you have a strategy that's kicking butt and taking names and all that kind of stuff, I wouldn't say adjust it, right? I'd just do A/B optimizations and keep going that direction. So more of a transition thing for sure.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Thank you so much. Really interesting. By the way, Austin, everybody should drop their contact information into the chat. And then I will encourage everybody to download it at the end so that you can get in touch with one another directly. I'm sure Austin would be happy to tell you more about it. Austin, from our conversation, I think you were targeting small agencies to help them do this for their clients. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're positioning over toward how can we use this as a way to augment services that agencies provide. So either as something that can fill in the gaps with certain things they're not great at, let's say competitive analysis, or just create a brand new service offering so that you can offer brand strategy as part of what you do. And we have a couple people doing that right now. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, I think if you could generate some case studies on this, that would be really helpful for marketing. All right.
Course.
So I think we've got 16 people, 17 people, but Austin is already gone. So I think, that leaves 15. Let's say 3 by 5, 15. Let's do 2 minutes each. That'll give us 5 minutes at the end. I will put my timer on. I dropped in the chat the order in which members showed up and then guests. And we just had somebody else join. So I will put on my timer for 2 minutes. If you could watch the timer and keep it to that, that would be great. Also, please go on mute because I'm putting it on speaker mode so that the speaker has the entire screen for recording purposes. So why don't we start with Zev, then Melih and Rochelle, Krista, Ron, and Rajiv, our members, and then we'll go to the guests. So Zev, take it away.
Hey everyone, great to see some faces I know and new people as well. I'm Zev Gotkin, founder of ZEV Media and Ospito Marketing, and we're a hospitality, food and beverage related focused ad agency. We do everything from PPC, meta ads, and really platform agnostic. We manage full-scale ads on all platforms, primarily for hotels, restaurant groups, even luxury e-commerce. There's sometimes a lot of overlap, interestingly enough, between a lot of these hospitality brands. Sometimes they have a store, things like that. And our ads are currently generating anywhere from 11 to 32 times ROAS. We do everything from lead generation to direct purchases like bookings and reservations and things like that, as well as bridal showers, corporate team builders, and events. And looking forward to connecting with all of you. We run ads really on everything from Google and Meta to even smaller platforms like Bing and LinkedIn. So looking forward to meeting with you all. I also have a podcast, the Z Marketing Podcast. Always looking for great guests, people, marketing experts, sales experts, to share some of their info with my audience. And yeah, great to meet you all.
Thank you. I forgot to put it on a timer, but I think that was less than 2 minutes. Okay, Melih.
Hi, everybody. Good to be back on the show. I met with Zev earlier this month, and I'm willing to meet with everybody else as well. I think one-on-one sessions tend to bring out a little bit more detail as we get to know each other. And good to meet you, Zev, and good to see you again. Another thing is that we did join the Trusted Referral Network as members, so I'm sure Michael's happy. And real quickly, I'm the CEO of Smart Finds Marketing. Our corporation has been in business for 37 years. I started the Internet Group in '94, so it's been a very long ride. We are a full 360 agency, pretty much doing whatever you can possibly imagine. I've got a team of 24. We're all based out of Detroit. Creative, marketing, tech, writers. Everybody's in Detroit, in the Detroit metro area. We've been in the Detroit metro area for the entire lifespan of our company. And I don't know, I know it's hard to pick one thing as far as, what do we specialize in, because there's so much that we do. We do work with large corporations, as you can imagine, being in the Detroit metro area. You got a lot of manufacturers, everybody's in the automotive industry. Everybody's in some type of B2B someplace. The one that I mentioned the last time, and I'll mention it again, I think it is kind of a unique scenario. It kind of ties into the AI topic from today. We have a conversion rate optimization program that's basically around $2,500 a month, runs about 4 months, and we can increase the number of leads the website generates by 200% as we go through that 4-month period. It does use an artificial intelligence, and I'm up on time, but there's the general gist.
Thank you so much.
You
All right.
bet.
Rochelle Lisner.
Good evening. Gosh, it's evening already. It's Rochelle from Dynamic Business Growth, and I always say that it's dynamic business growth and not schlep along business growth. And I find so many companies have a very rough time speaking about their business in a compelling way. Very often they are long-winded, boring, and speak in jargon. And I tune off, and I assume most people do as well. When you speak about your business, I have one quick question. Are you storytelling or boring telling? So I've worked with so many companies and really creating those dynamic stories that highlights your skills. I want to know, how do you pull a rabbit out of a hat? What is some of your key wins? And based on that, I'll get to see your expertise. I love working with family-owned businesses, and I'm still looking for attorneys. At my next cohort, I'm looking for a group of 5 different types of attorneys so that I can create pitches that they will be unrecognizable.
All right. Anything else? You got about a minute left.
Nope, I'm going to pass that time along.
All right. Thank you so much. Krista Giannak. Krista, are you
How do
there?
your people trust you? That's something that I ask my clients all the time, and prospects as well. It's a great question to ponder, especially for those of us who are marketers, because marketing so often is about persuasive content and not enough about trustworthy relationship building content, rapport building content. I'm Krista Giannak, ghostwriter, blogger, amateur skier who just happens to be blind. Many of you know that I used to hide from my personal journey, whereas now I leverage it to inspire my clients or my audiences, which are speakers, thought leaders, idea people, to genuinely boost their credibility. Because I uncover a client's powerful, untold stories. I really enjoy utilizing their expertise so that my writing positions the speakers, the thought leaders, to be able to book their speaking engagements or otherwise get more buy-in for their products, their services, and often, most importantly, their ideas. In the chat, I put 2 things, aside from my contact information. I put my speak talk, my professional published speak talk, Freedom of a Blind Skier and Writer, in case anyone's interested in that. I also put an invitation to the World of Difference Toastmasters Club. We meet every Wednesday, and it's a wonderful place for people who want to make an impact with their words.
All right. Thank you so much. Next up would be Ron Hubsher.
Oh, great. Just out of show of curiosity, how many people get squeezed on price here when you put out a project or a proposal? Does that happen to anybody? Yeah, I know it's sort of like, it could be like Tuesday in the middle of summer. You're looking forward to the Labor Day weekend. You're all psyched. You think you might have a deal. You're all pumped. And then they call up and say, hey, Austin or Rochelle, hey, we need you to take about 20% off this. And now instead of looking forward to your holiday weekend, you're like, oh man, what do I do? Do I push back hard? Do I risk the deal? Do I just eat that discount? What do I do? Well, we make sure that never happens again to you. I run a negotiation trading company. We help with companies from everywhere from Google, Oracle, Workday, down to small SaaS companies and everybody in between negotiate and close deals better. That's what we do. And if anybody needs a copy of my book, you can download it for free from our website. So it's easy read. I guarantee the hour you invest in it will pay for itself thousands of times over. And that's what I do. And if anybody's about negotiating closing in the TRN network as just as a friendship offer, I'll give me a call. I can walk you through some negotiation strategies.
Very cool. And Ron's book is called Closing Time, right?
Yep.
Didn't you write a second book too?
No, I was crazy enough to do one.
No,
If anyone's thinking about writing a book, make it short. No one reads anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. All right. Rajiv Jadhav.
Yeah, hi everyone. As you can see from my Zoom background, I'm the assassin. Your eyes are not playing tricks on you. Yes, I said that right. And yes, you read it right. I'm the assassin. What do assassins do? They assassinate. I don't assassinate people. I assassinate problems, usually problems related to scandal. And the kind of problems that keep you up at night at 2 a.m. in the morning, or which usually result in some sort of awkward conversation with a 7-year-old when he asks, Daddy, what does a douchebag mean? And then you have to explain that, and that could be kind of awkward. Well, we erase that stuff, get it gone, wiped away like it never happened ever, so that you can return to the life that you know and love. And more importantly, it's to ensure that your clients continue to have the trust and confidence in you and your brand and your organization. Because guess what? If there's something connected to you and that they see, the people that don't know you will make a snap judgment and think the worst of you. Worse still, they may advocate for others to do the same. And what that means, the data says that on average, one bad review can cost a business anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000 in lost revenue per lost client a year. And that's just reviews. But then there's so many other things to think about, like scandal, where people may just think, well, that he might be a douchebag. I don't know. I'm just saying. But you know, people are people, right? So anyway, we get it gone, success guaranteed, or your money back. My other ask for this group is, if anyone wants to speak at the United Nations to globalize your message, your brand, reach out to me. I schedule several conferences for the United Nations, have been doing so for the last 2 years approximately. So text me, I'll put my details in the chat. And my ask is to meet with other people that handle public relations or crisis communication, because I see synergies with them, and we do a revenue share and stuff. But anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for your time. Back to you, Michael.
Absolutely. And I believe Josh Hay dropped something in the chat that was related to reputation management. Trying to track lots of things, but take a look at that. All right. We are switching over to our guests. I got all of our members right. Alecia, I know you signed in early, but I didn't see you show up. Are you there? I don't see any faces. All right. We'll move on, come back to Alecia at the end. Tiffany Wilburn.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for inviting me to this session. It's been very informative to participate. A little bit about me. As a child, I was always described as fearless. I was the child that flew down the hill on my bicycle when all the other children cowered at the top. I also have been described as innovative. There is a way of doing things, but Tiffany finds out a different way to do it simply because why not? And so I still, to this day, described as being a fearless innovator. And I've leaned into that identity, specifically in my career as a fractional CMO in the food and beverage industry. Something that's interesting about me, I would also offer, is how many of you, just by a quick show of hands, are familiar with Southern Comfort as a brand? And that's typical. 98% brand awareness in the US. I was the architect behind the resurgence. Ha ha ha, the brand is back. 33% household penetration increase on the business over a 2-year period based on the marketing strategies that I put into place. So what I do today, I work with food and beverage brands who are in need of brand, product, or merchandising support, and have a gap in their executive marketing leadership team. So I step in and I support them on that journey. So what you all could do for me would be, one, reach out, schedule some time to have a one-on-one conversation. I'd love to learn more about your business, share more about my own. And if there is someone in your network who works in the food and beverage industry, think of anything that's consumable. Either you can buy it on the shelf at a grocery store, or you can buy it in a restaurant. Reach out, because I'd love to get to know them. Thank you.
All right. And of course, Tiffany and Zev have already connected. Rochelle Antman. Rachel, you're probably on mute.
Yes, I wanted to start by thanking you for inviting me.
Sure.
Nice to meet and see all of you. My name is Rochelle Antman. My company is called Sagency, which is SAYGENCY. I do a combination of public relations and writing, primarily for commercial real estate companies, but some of my writing is for a magazine called Classical Singer. So I do a little bit in the music industry as well. Some of my writing is under my own name. Some of it is ghostwriting. And something interesting about me, you may have guessed from the classical singer writing that I do, I am an ex-opera singer. And that's about it. Thanks everyone for taking the time to listen.
All right. Next time we want to hear you sing it.
Yeah,
Former-
let's go. Give us a few notes. Come on now. You have a minute left. Come on.
No, or you might want to hear it. I don't think my neighbors would.
Oh, they would. They would. Come on.
Right. So you said ex-opera as opposed to former opera. Does it make a difference? Or I always think of ex as, yeah. Anyway, so my ex-wife calls me her husband. That's interesting.
I love that.
All right, Josh. Hey.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Josh Hay. I call myself an on-demand head of growth. I work a lot with interim CMOs like Tiffany. I come in and I do both execution as well as strategic planning. I touch everything: email marketing, paid media, SEO, website optimization. I've been doing consulting for the last 8 years. I've worked at big companies like MTV, Nokia. In the last couple of years, I've consulted for JP Morgan Chase. I've worked with a lot of both CPG as well as B2B companies. On the B2B side, I've also worked with a company called Waystar that does revenue optimization for medical. I've worked with Land's End's a current client of mine. I work a lot with other fashion companies. I've worked with True Religion. I've worked with Robert Graham. And really, I come in and I do multiple things for clients. I really help them improve their work. There's a lot of times where they'll come in and they'll hire people and they need to mix things up. So I can strategically come in and assist. And I do a lot of management of agencies for when clients are unsure of how to manage their agencies internally, how to squeeze the most juice out of agencies. I come in as an interim resource for that. I work a lot with different PE companies where they have a new acquisition or they need to mix things up before making a big move. So that's a little bit about me. Used to work in the music industry for my first job. I have a gold record. I worked with the metal band Avenged Sevenfold. They're known in the metal world, and I'd love to connect with a lot of you. I think there's some synergy for us to work together, even though that's a dumb marketing word. I'm here for it and happy to chat and see where it makes sense.
Thank you. And good timing. All right. Zac Stucki.
That's Stucki to you, Michael.
Stucki, is it? Stucki.
It really is, but
all right.
I get it all the time. So I want you guys to picture for a second trying to put together a puzzle without the picture. You can do it, right? But it sucks, right? It's not fun at that point. It's really a slog. That's what a lot of businesses are doing, and they don't even know it. And what I mean by that is they are trying to create product market fit without understanding their market. And that's what I help businesses do. So I'm obsessed with helping early stage SaaS companies find product market fit by better understanding their clients. So they go from 1 to 10 a lot faster than they would have otherwise. It's like having the picture for the puzzle. And that's where it comes full circle. So, the people that I'm trying to get connected with, sorry guys, I'm such a nerd. The people that I'm trying to get connected with are just founders, CEOs of early stage SaaS companies that they have a little bit of early traction and they're trying to take it and reach the next level.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you. And I'm sorry for almost cutting you off. You have plenty of time. Craig Leonard. By the way, where are people based? Where are you based, Zac?
I am in sunny southern Utah, so I'm halfway between Zion and Las Vegas. Zion National Park in Las Vegas.
All right. I remember a conversation about that. Okay. Craig Leonard.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. So basically, Good afternoon. So my company is called Craig Thoughts, and I work with a number of groups of people, including speakers and small business owners in the tech space, family businesses. And I'm thinking about it while you guys were talking and listening, I was. I work with people who are great at what they do, but hate the online part and hate LinkedIn and social media. So I'm a LinkedIn specialist. I help people tell their story and present them in the best light. So if you know anyone, and forgive the potential stereotype, not all people, but people in their 60s, 70s, sometimes, obviously didn't grow up with the social media side of it, and they're great at what they do, but maybe need some help on the online side with LinkedIn and so on. Again, my website is craigthoughts.com, and thank you.
Thank you. And you're based in New Jersey, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Howard Levy.
Hello, everyone. When you think of nonprofits, you should think of Red Rooster Group. We help nonprofits wake up their brand and catalyze their fundraising. So for the last 30 years, I've been working with organizations of all sizes, mostly up to $100 million, to get to the next level of success. For example, the last 4 years, we're working with one of the largest providers of services for homelessness in California, and help them grow from 38 million to over 100 million. So we handle all their strategy, their brand strategy, the marketing communications, their fundraising, creating videos, and all the things they need to do to tell their story to the world, to drive their marketing, to drive their volunteers, to drive their donors, and galvanize success for them. So that's what we do. Organizations typically come to us because they recognize they have some kind of problem. Could be a brand problem. We're outdated. Our mission is irrelevant. Our website needs an update. Our name is no longer working for us. We want to expand in new directions, all those kinds of things. We work on brand strategy for them. It could be a marketing problem. How do we reach new audiences? How do we get our donor base, younger donor base, diversify our funding sources, things like that. And it could be specifically from the fundraising side. How do we tell our story to donors? How do we, do our direct mail, our email campaigns, our social media, all that kind of stuff. And so we'll work with them on a strategic basis, on a retainer, and work with a limited number of clients, in depth, to really make a huge difference for organizations. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather now. But that's we've gotten extraordinary results for nonprofits. So if you know of any organizations that are looking to be more successful, you can reach out to us. Thanks.
And based in New York City, correct?
We are. Yep. Work with groups nationally.
Thank you. Feel better.
Thanks.
Monica Udiraja. Are you there, Monica? Nope. Looks like she may have left. Okay. Sarah Hannah.
Hi, everyone. My name is, excuse me, Sarah Hannah. I'm with Second Life Careers. I'm based in Metuchen, New Jersey, about 40 minutes outside of Manhattan. I'm sorry I was late. I was actually helping a client with a support call. So that's, I kind of missed exactly what I'm supposed to do. So I'm going to guess based on what I've heard. But I help small businesses in the wellness and fitness space. So yoga studios, vegan, vegetarian cafes, doulas, like all the astrologers, like all those folks in that space. I help them with their online presence and visibility, localization, things like that, through websites, websites, SEO, and Google Business Solutions. Heard someone say who I want to meet. I want to meet business coaches and folks in branding or rebranding space who are just focused on the branding, who can then hand me a package so I can build something that makes sense. And I'm also a best-selling author. I wrote a inspirational journal, and I'm coming out with angel cards this month. I'm not sure what else I'm supposed to say, so sorry, Michael.
What are angel cards? I don't know what angel cards are.
Angel cards, I use them, and I'm also a yoga and wellness teacher too. So I teach anywhere from 5 to 7 classes a week, group classes, private classes, and corporate. Angel cards are typically used, you can use them in a variety of ways, but I use them for inspiration. So a lot of times when people come to yoga, they are stressed out and they are looking for a de-stress. And sometimes you can't get your head into the game, even with breathing and all the fun things that we do. So angel cards are really geared towards sort of changing your brain a little bit, you know, on the fly in a class, and you can use them for much more than that. But I'm developing angel cards based on my inspirational journal that I did.
All right.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me, Michael. Nice to see you.
Of course. Great to see you again. Alecia, are you there? She hasn't really shown up the entire time, so I guess not. Austin, do you want to do, we have a little time. Do you want to do a pitch as well, or just explain what you do other than or beyond what you already showcased?
I think you guys got the pitch already from me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I will go then. I didn't miss anybody, did I? All right. We got everybody. And Alecia didn't quite show up. So I'll put the timer on for myself. So my name is Michael Bendit. My core business, besides running this networking group, is selling software development services. I'm an independent rep for about a dozen software development teams. And a lot of what we do, maybe about 60% of what we do, is in the marketing world. So I have teams that build websites on WordPress, on other platforms from scratch if necessary. And e-commerce sites, that's another big one. We do a lot of Shopify work. We still have capabilities in Magento, which is another big, used to be a bigger platform. It's owned by Adobe. Big commerce, shrinking, but still has a bit of a market share. A lot of what we do is converting people from one platform to another. So they might have been in an old platform and they're moving to Shopify. So we are really the technical experts. We work very well with other marketing agencies who don't always have the programmers in-house to do that work. And we supplement either giving them extra bandwidth and or giving them skills that they don't have, or adding to their skill set by bringing in teams that have a different set of skills or know different platforms than what they know. A good example, we just had a long-term partner bring over a couple of websites, 4 websites that are on Expression Engine, which people may not have heard of, but it's an old CMS, a content management system, and sometimes people don't want to move off of it. So I do have a team that can handle Expression Engine. And what else? So the other side of my business is I do work with a lot of startups as well. And I will add one more thing. We are now doing APIs, so integration between different systems. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a new system anymore. If you know of anybody, doesn't have to be in the marketing space, but somebody who's having trouble or would love to automate some of their processes to that they're currently doing manually to connect one system to another, I have a team that specializes in that. All right. And I will switch back to gallery mode. So everybody is back online. We have about 7 minutes. For those of you who are members, I sent out an email. So I'd love to hear back from you about your thoughts on changing things up a little bit. I love the dynamic of what we have here, but I want to expand it so that we get more people and more engaged folks. We have a great group of guests today, so thank you all for coming, as well as, of course, our members and some former members. Anybody have a topic they want to discuss or a question they wanted to ask Austin that didn't get a chance to? Melih.
I have one quick question, a real quick question. Did everyone put that contact information into the chat so we can download the chat and make sure that we can stay in touch?
Okay, so that's a great question, because then now would be a good time. If you go to the chat, open it up, at least in Windows, and at the top, there's a more, triple dots button. Hit that, and the first one is Save Chat. It will save to a Zoom folder in your Documents
Michael,
folder.
also
Yes.
another thing is I think I might have joined the meeting a little bit later, so I don't see many people's contact info. So if people wouldn't mind reposting their contact info, I think that would greatly help many people.
Okay.
Hey, Michael, can I put a plug in for you?
I'll always take a plug.
Okay. First of all, it's great to meet everybody. And I got to tell you, like, of all the networking groups you can meet, I'll just personally testify for Michael. I've known Michael 35 years. He is, first off, one of the smartest people you'll ever meet. Two, he's one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And he's really connected and just, he knows everything and anybody. Anytime I had like a little technical problem or anything, he put me like in touch with the right person at the right time. Like, it was just phenomenal. So if you're thinking about joining, it's like it's a $1 a day just to hang out with Michael. It's worth it.
Thank you, Ron.
Let alone all the other people you get, but he's just a rock star human being. So that's my only plug.
Thank you. And Ron, you and Josh should get together to talk about. He's on the side of squeezing, negotiating against sellers of services. So you might have something in common to talk about.
He's in Hollywood, Florida, so not far.
That's right. Absolutely.
Ron.
Ron, where are you in Florida?
I'm just up the road in Boynton Beach.
Boynton Beach. Okay. Cool. All right. Any other comments? Our next meeting is on September 10th, I think is the Tuesday. That's again the second Tuesday of the month, so it'll be at 11 a.m. We alternate between 11 on the second Tuesday, this is Eastern time, and 5 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday. And we love to have people come back, tell other people about it. It's really for marketers, anybody that provides a marketing service. Most of us have a niche. Melih is one of the exceptions here. I guess Josh is probably an exception as well. But there's always opportunities for referring business if you can't cover it all. And we know that with digital marketing, it's now a very broad range of services and expertise that's required. And even though Melih has 24 people and has been doing this for 35 years, occasionally he must come up with something where he needs some extra help. So
I do.
All right. And of course, if you know of any clients that need the full service that you can't provide, Melih would be a great person to refer them to, or Josh, a few others, generalists, Tiffany, of course, in the food and beverage space. And reach out to Austin if you want to learn more about Bluprnt, or try it out. I think it's probably worth testing and seeing what it comes up with, because it's going to speed up the process.
Since we have 3 minutes, Austin, how much does it cost?
It's free.
It's free. Okay, just checking. I know that you said freemium. I wasn't sure, but I will give it a shot. Thank you.
Well, it's free to build one, and then if you like it and you want to use it with clients, we can talk about the pricing model around updating it and giving you like the add-ons and stuff. But it's definitely worth checking out. And if you check it out and you hate it, I want to hear about it, because we can make it better that way. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's fascinating, and AI is changing lots of things. There's going to be lots of opportunities to speed up processes, eliminate manual work. And as Austin said, I think, AI is going to be used in many, many software products over the next, as they are already, but over the next several years, it'll just become ubiquitous. So thank you all. We're pretty much at the top of the hour. Again, you might want to download the chat. It'll overwrite if you downloaded it earlier. Also, just a plug for Rajiv. He also runs a networking group called the Dynamite Networking Group. If you want to find out more about that, reach out to Rajiv. Anybody else run a networking group? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you all. Have a great evening, and hopefully I will see you in the upcoming months or whatever. Stay in touch.
Good to meet everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.